Howdy folks, Little John on the back veranda, coming towards the end of the day off. Just finished knocking out a couple extract brews, and that means it's time to sit down and do this taste comparison on the Cluster 8, the Bentspoke Cluster 8. I discussed this on the Beer Safari video recently and a few other places. When doing those Beer Safari videos, I had a can of the Bentspoke Cluster 8 sitting here, but it's an old can. I picked up recently a new can and the Cluster 8 glass, so it's getting a maiden journey, obviously, with some Cluster 8. The old one's been a bit of a turncoat. It's sitting in the Sierra Nevada glass, which has pretty much lost its branding. It's all but gone. So, anyway, what I wanted to test, if I could spit it out, what I was looking to test on these was the difference between a fresh and an old. How the flavours are impacted and affected. So this has been an ongoing issue with a lot of the beer reviews I've been doing, especially over this COVID. A lot of beers have been a little older, so it's a little difficult to do a good review on a beer when it's 6 months old. Especially, I mean, it's alright, it's a lager or a porter or something of those natures, where the age doesn't hurt it quite so much, but anything real hoppy obviously knocks it around. So I was having that bad run with a few beers that I'd purchased during COVID. I've discussed before, I think a lot of breweries were clearing old stock. Because basically they had to, they didn't have much choice. But either way, I didn't want to run the Cluster 8 into those comparisons, especially after I checked the date on this one, and it was packaged back in November last year. So it's close enough to 11 months old. Well, it is 11 months old. 20 for the 11th, instead of the 20, that's the 30th of the 9th. So it's 11 months old. 10 months. 10 months. But, potentially well past its best. And I just got lucky enough that I managed to pick up this pack 2 weeks ago. They were selling them. It turned up just the other day. And that was a 4-pack of obviously fresh and the glass from Bentspoke. And given they've only come up the road from Canberra, they didn't travel much. The cans were cold when they got here. Just got lucky with the weather not being too warm just as they travelled, which was good. But these fellas were packaged on the 19th of August. So that's 1 month and 10 days ago. 5.5 weeks ago. So this will not be suffering from the ill effects of age. So I can see how they go. Now, Cluster 8, it's a well-known beer. It doesn't rate as well as some of Bentspoke's other beers in things like Gabs and stuff like that, but only because the reality is it's a double IPA, 8.8% alcohol. It's too much beer for a lot of the hipsters that are out there that are visiting breweries and voting on such things. Hardcore craft beer enthusiasts know that it's a quality beer. So it's certainly a beer I've enjoyed at the brewery. I think I've had one can from a bottle shop when I was in Canberra one time with the missus before she had a surgery No, one of them when she was having a surgery before her actual treatments this time around. So that was pre-COVID. But I've had it at the brewery. I prefer the Sprocket over the Cluster 8, but this is my second favourite from Bentspoke. But anyway, enough bullshit, let's get on with it. So first thing I'm really looking at here, there's a difference in the head retention. Now, they both poured a fairly similar head. There seems to be a bit less carbonation coming from this fresh fella, and that could be something to do with the glass. I don't know. There is some etching on the bottom of the speed glue. This fella, the Luigi Bormioli, I said that nicely, the missus would be proud. Doesn't have as much carbonation, but it doesn't have. I thought it had some etching in the bottom, but it doesn't. If it does, it's not doing a hell of a lot. So the head's dropped on this one a little bit, but that, again, at 8.8% alcohol, you don't expect it to hold too much of a head. So okay, well, yeah. Big resins and punchy notes. Yum. That's drinking good. The initial taste is the resin. That hot, that viscous resin that gets in the mouth and it sort of coats the front, and then as it moves to the mouth, you get the juice and the fruit takes over. There's like a lot of apricot and peach sort of notes. A little bit of orange. There's some nice dank. Here comes some rain, so I hope that doesn't affect it too noisy. That's going to stuff us up. Hopefully this might be the last of the crappy weather. It's starting to get a little bit better leading into the weekend. So I said that is, that is drinking. I said like it's fresh. It feels and tastes like it's just coming off that grassy, hoppy sort of stage where that vegetative note's just gone away, and it's just starting to let the hops really open up and shine. So let's go to the older fella. And the nose is fairly similar, but it's not as pungent. It's much gentler. Yeah, it's a similar smell, but it's pulled back. And obviously it's lost some of that with the time. Okay. Oh, I've got to say that's still bloody nice. Okay. Again, it's like the smell. It's there. It's the similar thing. You can taste the same stuff, but it's pulled back, and there's a little bit of an. It's probably you could say it's a stale edge. Yeah, it's that sort of stale rolling into that developing medicinal sort of note, almost medicinal slash oxidized sort of note that you can get with older brews, but it's not particularly, it's not big and it's not real noticeable, it's not standing out. And if you weren't looking too closely, you wouldn't really pick it at all. Yeah, it's still got good character, but it's definitely, it hasn't got the freshness is clearly missing, and that's very noticeable. Is that freshness isn't there, the depth of flavour. But I'm surprised at how well that's actually holding up. I said for a 10-month-old beer, which is so big on its flavours, big, it's bold. This is a bold beer flavour-wise. It's not your typical sort of IPA, double IPA. It's not what you expect to get, and I think this is again part of the reason why it doesn't rate quite as well as say Crankshaft and Sprocket. It is a more, it's bolder, it's deeper flavours. They're not what you're expecting. It's not tropical and and zesty fruits. It's not passion fruits and pineapple and mango and that sort of thing. It's not those light, bright fruits. It's deeper, it's like candied fruits, preserved and with a more intense flavour. So for a lot of people, I can see that they're going to get that's too much. Like, I know the brother-in-law, the brother, didn't really like the Cluster 8. He didn't like the Cluster 12 either. They were too much for him. And again, he's a Ted drinker. He doesn't mind a bit of a craft beer. He drinks my home brews. He tries different stuff. But this was far too intense for him. The Sprocket he enjoyed, he drank because it was a bit lighter and brighter. But this, it's dank without being dank. The flavours, the fruits, the fruit flavours themselves have a dankness about them without having that actual, what would you typically get dank, when you're talking sort of more old school American West Coast IPA, when you had that really, deep, bloody locked up attic, dark room, mouldy, musty, dank. It's not that same sort of thing, but it feels to me like that same. It still feels like a dankness. It's just this dirt. It's like this. It's like someone stuck a bag of old dried fruit away, and it's sat there for 3 or 4 years, and then you've pulled it out and you've eaten it, and it's just stewed and fermented in its own sort of flavours, and it's just come out, and it's just the flavours have just grown and got stronger and stronger, while still having that underlying flavour, but just got really amped up. It is tasty though, it really is. It's yum. But yeah, it's not an everyday drink. It's not something you're going to be able to just sit down and drink every day. Come home from work and crack open a Cluster 8. It's not something you're going to do. You're not going to sit down on a Saturday afternoon around the barbecue or by the fire and drink 4 or 5 or 6 of them. I mean, 8.8%. You're not going to drink all of them anyway. But it's too intense. It's a fairly, and for me, it's a fairly unique beer. In that it has got that flavour profile. It's not like anything else. I can't think of any other beer okay, go with the older one. You can probably find some other stuff, and in all honesty, that probably ranks with a lot of double IPAs when they are fresh from a lot of breweries. Yeah, that's sort of what they're doing, because that big, bold, deep flavours have settled a little bit, and they've been knocked out a little bit with time. That's still bloody good, even at 10 months old. That's still good. I'm going to stop now because that's going to really get little John chirpy. I can feel it. 8.8%. This is a beer you sit back and just enjoy and suck on, over a period of time. It's not something to sit down over 20 minutes. I've basically right now probably drunk a full beer in whatever it is, 15 minutes, something like that. It's going to knock you around. Maybe not so much if you're a bit more seasoned than what little John is. I don't drink a lot to go, so it's going to knock me around a bit more. I mean, if I keep going, I'm going to start getting a little bit, probably a little bit mouthy. I'm going to finish them. Don't you worry about that. But there's nothing more. There's not anything more to say. If you haven't tried Cluster 8, do so. So this is an absolute cracker of a beer. If you're a serious craft beer drinker, not just a fucking crafty fucking hipster wanker, if you're fucking serious about craft beer, this is the sort of shit we're looking for. Again, I've said it before. I said it through the Beer Safari videos. I don't like every beer that Bentspoke do, but by Christ, they bloody know what they're doing. They make some really good beer because clearly their process is good. 10-month-old beer, 5-week-old beer, and I'm enjoying both of them. That's a credit to the brewer that this beer is still so drinkable 10 months down the track. It's almost past its best before. Best before on this is the 20th of 11th. Under 2 months away. Most people would be saying, oh, don't fucking bother with it. And I was concerned about it. I said, in all honesty, if I just drank that, even without the fresh stuff, just drank that and reviewed that, it's getting a good review because it's still a good bloody beer. Just a quick pointer on the glasses. I know a lot of people use these. I said this is the Bentspoke branded glass. And I said this is Luigi Bormioli, Italian crystal. It's twice the weight, 3 times the weight of this fella, which is the Spigloo. IPA glass. I said it was a Sierra Nevada, and I think it's still there. I can just see it. It's got the little hop etched in the bottom. I think this is a better glass. This is crystal. The Bormioli, it is crystal, as opposed to just glass. That clunks, that rings. But I've always said it. Well, I've never actually said it. I've always believed it. I've never actually said it on video because I've never had to. But beer does not work in crystal. It doesn't. It just doesn't work. Crystals for spirits, wine. Even wine, I don't know if it's worked that great. Probably doesn't work that great for spirits either. Crystal itself is a bit wankery. That's a good solid piece of glass. I said the other day, when I opened it, I said, yeah, I commented, it's a wee motherfucker of a glass, and it is. Yeah, it's some serious bullshit. It's big, it's thick, it's heavy. I feel like more of a man than I did before when I'm holding this glass. But I don't know that it does quite as well a job as this fella. And the reality is these spigglers were designed specifically for IPAs, and you get a lot of this stuff which are knockoffs of the design. Can you see the similarity? Yeah. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic. I'm done. Gonna finish them up. Little John. Patrons, as always, cheers guys. Thanks for your support. Some stuff coming your way in the coming weeks. Don't you worry about that. There's stuff coming. Questions or comments? Stick them down the bottom. Go ahead. I will answer most comments, and I do read all comments. So go ahead. Get involved in the conversation. If you are subscribed to Little John, cheers for subscribing. If you're not, hit the subscribe button down there in the corner of the screen. Come along for the journey. Regardless of all that, hit the like button. If you like watching Little John drinking beer, and really, why wouldn't you? What's not to like? Handsome fella like myself, drinking some beer, having a yarn. It's closest you can get to sitting on the back veranda with Little John. You know, I'll tell you, not everyone gets to do that. So anyway, that's me, I'm done. So until I see you again, we're brewing beer, talking beer, or drinking beer from wee motherfucking glasses. Good brewing.